All right. I think we're good to go.
All right, then let me switch on over. Share and show. Okay, are we seeing the screen? Perfect. All right, so this is the last presentation for this. After this, we're going to be all about pitch, pitch, pitch. So if you have any general questions, anything that you aren't clear on, this is the session to ask. And we're going to get started because there's a few things I really want to make sure we hit tonight. Sales. Sales is big, obviously. Validation comes from revenue. We don't create businesses to just keep in our pockets. And until we actually start selling, we don't have that validation that this is serving the kind of customer that we want to serve and the way we want to serve them. So sales is vital to the business. Generating the leads is the pipeline, sales is the conversion. And when we're talking about getting those people in, all this work we've been doing about target customer, problem, solution, all of that comes right down to this sales conversation. When you have that target customer really nailed down, when you are in a grocery store, you'd be able to recognize that this person might very well be my target customer. When you're at that event, that networking event, and that person is chewing your ear off, you'll be able to go, I need to make an exit because this person is not my target customer, but that person over there by the chips and dip is my target customer, and I need to get over there. That's really where all of this comes into play. And once you are talking to that target customer, being able to have that conversation is where all of that psychographic stuff comes into play. This is how you approach them. These are some of the things you talk about rather than just jumping in. This is my business and I want to sell to you. If you know kind of what's important to them, you know what they're kind of thinking of based on how you've built out that persona, that's generally like a conversation starter. That's how you get that idea of warming up that customer and really building up that rapport with them and that relationship because absolutely sales is about relationships. You don't want to have this situation where it's transactional. You'll hear that where you just come, I just want to give you my money and leave. You want to build a relationship because that builds up the lifetime value of that customer. It's so much easier to sell to the customers you already have than to go out and find new customers. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about the persona, when you're thinking about that ideal customer, who is somebody I want to continue to have a relationship with because you don't want it to be a pain in the butt that you're sitting here getting this person coming in, and you're like, I sure wish I could just give them their money back. We're bound to have at least one of those, but let's not make that the target customer. So, any questions on this? That conversation is critical. And here was where we're talking about that being a conversation and not selling. Think of, and I think we talked about this before, think of the sales conversation as an exchange of value. When you are talking to that customer, you're listening more than you're talking. But when you're talking, you're asking questions. You're keeping them talking, and you are asking questions that are designed for you to get the information you need to see if what you have can actually help them. What we start feeling that anxiety and that, oh my gosh, it's because we are not really thinking about helping them. We're thinking about selling to them. When we get into that mindset of helping them, then we kind of start getting almost like an investigator. Let me see what's going on with you. Let me understand what's the problem you're actually having. And then once I get it and I know I can help you, you wouldn't sit there and not tell them about it. Think of if you had a bought this makeup and it was had some special ingredient in it that took care of a skin problem. And if you were talking to somebody and they had this skin problem and you heard them talking about it, you wouldn't just be sitting there like, sucks to be you. Nope, not telling you. You probably would be like, you know what? I got this makeup. Just bought it off Amazon. Here it is. This is how much it costs. It goes on really smooth. Not you be all of that. That's exactly how you talk about your own business. You listen to their problem, you fit it to your solution, and then you just give it back to them in that same way. If they don't want it, if they don't need it, they'll let you know. And that's not a reflection of you or your business, but you want to make sure that you are focused on exchanging the value, which means listening more than you're talking. But when you're talking, you're asking questions. When you're not asking questions, you're sharing benefits. Benefits, 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 not features. Does anyone have questions on that? That's going to be important.
I have I think I have a question, or maybe I'm just thinking through something because I attended the community baby shower that Summer Brook did yesterday, and
Uh-huh.
I hosted a table there. And so when I got home, I was kind of reflecting on some of the conversations that I was having, but one really stood out to me because there was a dad that came over to my table. And so,
Mhm.
my business, I'm a doula and I'm a mental health provider. So my business is focused on maternal mental health. And so when he came over to my table, I felt like I didn't freeze, but I was just like in my head, I'm like, okay, my conversation has to shift a little bit because I was trying to talk about the benefits of my services for him, but also for his girlfriend. And so I was your voice was in my head, Miss Kim. I'm like, okay, think quick, think quick. But I was thinking about how I was selling my service to him for him to go back and share with his girlfriend. And he, like, by the time we finished our conversation, because I really talked about how my service could help him help his girlfriend, basically.
Mhm.
And he was like, okay, I'm gonna go get her. I'm gonna be right back because she need to meet you. And so he did bring her back. So I kind of felt, I was like, okay, I might have did okay. But I definitely in the beginning,
Yes,
I was freezing a little bit, like, okay, think about the benefits of your
that's
service.
right.
So thank you. I was saying that to say thank you too.
Oh, yes, you're welcome. You got it. Because this is the one thing that I absolutely want you all to really internalize. This is your business. It is what you say it is. Nobody knows it better than you. So when you get into these conversations, if you think of yourself in a situation like oh gosh, everybody thinks of the car salesman, but think of the car salesman. When you walk in, they don't just start showing you cars. They don't start talking about the wheels and the horsepower and the engine and the um, four-wheel traction. They immediately start asking you questions. What do you do? What do you like to do on the weekends? What kind of cars have you had before? What kind of hobbies do you have? They're looking for ways to hook you and sell you on the benefits so that when they do switch over to the sales conversation, they're only talking about all the things you've already fed to them. This car has this much room in the trunk to fit those that sports equipment that you say you carry around everywhere. This is really going to fit that really well. The back seats let down because I know you say you don't have kids, so you can leave that down and really keep these things in there. They automatically start showing you how what they have will fit every single situation you have. That's exactly what you do with your business. But the only way you can do that is just like Danielle said, you know your benefits You know the problem. She knew the problem that the girlfriend had, and she was able to tailor that to say, this is how you, Mr. Man, can help your girlfriend with these problems with what I do. That is sales 101. Very, very easy when you have the pieces, when you know and you're confident that you know what you serve or what you provide as a solution, and you know the benefits of that solution. So in a situation when you're having a sales conversation, it doesn't have to be long drawn out. It doesn't have to be full of technical stuff. It literally could just be like you're talking to a friend. You come up to someone, you're sitting next to somebody, you go, oh, look, I see you have a little charm on your bracelet for a car, a little zip sports car. You like sports cars. Yeah, you have spark the sports car. And again, this is a target customer. You already have done that recon to know this is a target customer. Let's say, for instance, you sell, I'm going to pick something that nobody in here has. Let's say you sell um, foot cream. I'm making that up. Foot cream. And you're like, oh, I see you have the sports car. Yes, yes. My brother used to have a car and talk about the sports car, get her talking about the sports car. What do you do? Ah, I have this business. I do that. Oh, yeah, yeah. So I have a business too. Don't go into the sale right there. I have a business too. What's your business? Okay, yeah, nice, nice. Uh-huh. Nice. And I see you got those nice shoes on. They're doing well. Yep, yep. There's these shoes, they hurt sometimes, but so what makes them hurt? Is it all shoes or just your regular shoes? These particular shoes or all shoes? Nope, nope, just these because it rubs on that one spot on my foot right here that I got as a dry spot. Dry spot. Okay, yeah, I had one of those too. And I know some of the people that I work with, I've used some of the products and they've really seen some improvement in that. What kind of things have you used on it before? I use this, I use that, it caused this, it caused that. Well, what didn't work? Why did you have to keep buying all those things? Oh, this was happening, that was happening, this rash, it gave me a rash, I got a reaction. Oh gosh, it's probably the chemicals in there. That's why I only use natural stuff in mine. What else have you used on there? Keep doing all that. You have that conversation going, and then don't just end it there or don't then just leapfrog. So now you're sitting here, you're saying, yeah, you got all that going on. I bet you that this is what the problem is, because just looking at it, I've seen this probably in four, five, six of my customers over the last month. What you're probably experiencing is this, and this with your foot. If you were to try something that had something without all those chemicals in it and something that was more soothing, because that's why it's red. It's red because it's getting that your blood is rising up to the top to the surface of the skin, and then it's rubbing on that, and that's why that's happening. Demonstrating expertise. I know what I'm talking about. I have 4 or 5 or 6 customers. That's social proof right there. If you were to try something that had that on there, I bet you that would probably go away. It would probably take about 4 weeks, but it would go away and you wouldn't have to deal with that again. Oh, really? Yeah, yep. I'll tell you the one product that I have that most of those people that have that use is this salve, and it goes on once a day. Once you're done with it, you don't have to keep putting it on. It's not greasy, won't stain your shoes or anything. That just opens the door for now her to now ask you, what is the product? How much does it cost? Now that's the sales. Now you're into the close. But that could take 5 minutes. It could take 10 minutes, however you want to do it. But it should be just that easy. Talking to you about something we share in common, asking some questions, understanding what the problem is, cataloging that, sliding in some social proof, sliding in the fact that's what you do, and then let her ask you for the sale. I hope that was as natural. Did that sound okay for people? Did anybody have a question, a comment on how that works?
Ebony mentioned it's a good example, but huh. Like,
The foot person.
I do see Candida has her hand up, and it looks like Tiffany had her hand up afterwards.
Okay. Let me see, because I can't see hands with this.
Candida, you want to come off mute?
Yes, I've been redoing like all the homework and thinking about my problem or my target customer.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a mom who has children. Well, the mom has children. She just had a baby. She wants her home cleaned. She's overwhelmed with the upkeep of her house, and she also wants her home cleaned without chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she has money. She is either medium or high income. She also has medical insurance that may cover the cost.
Here is so when you are thinking about your target customer, probably the easiest way is to think of it in reverse of what this is the solution that I have, who needs it, but you don't have to put every type of customer into your target customer.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. I have a product, a series of products for women who are Gen X women who are going through some type of life transition, be that a caregiver, a new caregiver, their caregiving duties have just ended, they've divorced, milestone birthday. All of those are different situations of a life pivot. I don't
Okay.
need to make all of them my target customer. I say this, I should say they all are fit in the target customer bucket, but they're not all the target is the Gen X women 40 to 60 going through this life pivot. End of story. When I go to market, I market individually to them. I'm going to have one message for that woman who's in the caregiving role in the situation, one message for someone who's in that career change pivot, one message. So I'm not trying to squeeze all that into one message because they each have different priorities. That would be the same for you. Take that solution and say, who has the problem that this is for, that this would solve, but then figure out what the common thread is for all of them. And then your messaging would be individual to all of that. So when you're talking, a mom who's overwhelmed, who has money, but also gets state assistance, you're wrapping too many different people into one person and you're creating
Um,
a unicorn.
okay. When I was thinking state assistance, I'm thinking she has medical insurance because the state assistance to me sounds like cash benefits. No?
I'm not sure. I mean, that's something you would research. Do what
Okay.
if that's one of the criteria for your target customer, what is that income level? What does that mean to get state assistance? Is it if you get medical care, does that mean you're not getting cash? If you get cash, does that automatically mean you get medical care? That's the kind of stuff you want to dig out and find out about your target customer, if that's
Because
one of the criteria.
because her job can also have medical insurance.
Absolutely. But
So,
again, I want to emphasize here that you don't need to put all of the demographics in your target customer's description. If it doesn't
okay.
change how you if it doesn't change how you offer them solutions, if it doesn't factor into the solution you offer, then you don't need that particular demographic. And what I mean by
Okay.
that is if your product or service can be used by men or women, then you don't need to put gender as one of the markers of a demographic because it doesn't change if it's a man or a woman. If
Okay.
it's something that, excuse me, if it doesn't matter your education level, then you don't need to make that one of the demographics. But if it's something that has a factor in the solution that you provide, those are the only demographics you need to worry about.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Good, good. All right, Tiffany.
Hello, Kimberly. I hope you're doing well today.
Hello.
Oh,
Says that.
sorry, something on my screen.
I see you.
Okay. Um, what I found has helped me with some sales is I put the products that I offer for ingrowns in the bikini area on the wall so clients can see it, the benefits of the product and how to use it step by step. And I can easily glance at it as well as the client. So they can be curious and ask me, and I can easily read off of it if I can't remember everything on the top of my head. And I can easily grab the bottle, take it to the checkout desk, and they're more likely to purchase it that way instead
Mm-hmm.
of forgetting between the service time in case someone else comes after and I forgot to bring it up. And I added this on my wall for add-on menu. If I add
Mm-hmm.
on like a brow cleanup or a bikini mask for 10 minutes, I put on the top, asks me about add-ons, and clients are more likely like, tell me about that. What is that? So I've found that it has helped me.
Exactly. They do that all the time. Whenever you go and get a pedicure, they're automatically, you want a manicure?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
They,
it's exactly.
So yes, it's the same thing, but recognizing that that is the easiest revenue to get is from an existing customer. And that
Yes.
person is already in your chair. They already decided that you can solve a problem for them. You just keep adding that on. And these
Yeah.
are services that they already need. And I've always said, if you have any kind of personal care business, man, if you could create just a little take-home card that said, "Hey, here's what you had done today. Here's what the
Mhm.
problem areas I
Like a
saw."
little pamphlet, like a little take-home pamphlet.
Mm-hmm.
Or aftercare
Exactly.
card is too.
And do you have something that's personalized in there?
Not by me, but from the company that makes the products. I have cards and pamphlets, but I can make one with my logo on it.
Yeah, throw that in there to just, again, something specific to them to say, here's what the products we used on you today. Here's what you're getting taken home to solve this particular issue so that they already know this is what I had, this is what I got. And just listen, there's a place that I go to for my nails. I don't even get my nails done, my fingernails. I get my feet done. But they have these little, when you go after a certain amount of time, they create these little kits for you with
Mhm.
tools in it. And they probably, I don't know that they're specifically to mine, but it got my little name on it and it's got a little kit. I'm going all the time.
I made this tiny little kit with free tweezers, little spoolie for their eyebrows or lashes. I have my card inside and like a thank you sticker on it. So I've
Mhm.
made something personal for clients booking.
They're just for ones that have been there for a while.
Yes.
Membership has its privileges.
Amen. Thank
All
you.
right, Lorraine.
Hi, Kim.
Hey
Um,
there.
hey, so we have our target customer, and then
Hmm.
then we have different messaging for different types of people. Well, how does that work like with the website or your business plan with the different messaging?
Your website would kind of be, I don't want to say generic, but so to use my example is Gen X women who are going through a life transition. I would mention that life transition, those different life transitions, so that they could see themselves on my page. But the focus of the page would be my solution and the benefits to them for that solution. Now, when I specifically market to them, when I create an ad campaign, when I'm doing some kind of, oh, I'm getting an echo. When I'm doing some kind of specific uh, promotion, I'm going to be talking to one of them, not all of them. But all of them will be able to see themselves on my website.
because of the benefits.
Yes, because again, you're people want to know what's in it for me. It's all well and good that you have all these things and you do all these things, and that's great. But what does it mean for me? So that's what they're looking for on your website. They're looking for it in their messaging, in your messaging. They're listening for it in the sales conversation. What does it mean for me specifically? Not just me as in someone who has money that could possibly pay you, for me specifically. And so that's why you want your messaging to not try to be all things to everyone. You pick one, if you only have one channel, then you speak to that one channel. If you have multiple channels, then you speak in each individual message to that individual channel. That makes sense?
Yeah, when you say channel, you mean
So
like
let me see
Facebook or
in your case, if you have the two-sided marketplace, meaning you're talking on one side to people to give donations, and then on the other side, you're talking to people who will come in and buy. Those are two very different messages that you would develop.
Mhm.
And when you are in that mode or wherever the donators are, wherever you're reaching them, you're only talking to them about donating and the benefits of donating. When you're on this side and you're talking to your customers that are buying, then you're talking about the product and the solution that your product is providing them by coming in and buying. So those are two different channels and
Okay,
two different messages.
okay. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Okay.
I have
Sasha.
a question. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Whitney. Go ahead, Whitney.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Um, so my main target is the oh my gosh, I just went blank. I'm sorry.
All them babies this weekend.
Yes. My target audience I discovered was the young mother. So, but I do have several channels. So in the pitch, do you want to just hear about the single young mothers, or am I supposed to include that I do both?
I would focus on one because you want
Okay.
your messaging to be about one.
Okay.
Mhm. Sasha.
okay. I was workshopping my target audience and the tagline for Navarre Media this weekend. And
Mhm.
I came up with helping high achievers excel in their craft, who excel in their craft, expand their personal brand with visual storytelling.
How would you identify that person at a conference?
Um, uh, well, I was more saying like they have like self-help books or business books, they're reading them, they have them around them as like reading material. Their calendars are booked.
How would you know
The,
that at a conference?
at a conference, no, I wouldn't. They would be speaking at the conference. They would be one of the speakers. They would be one of the presenters or one of the MCs or the host. Um, or they put on the conference itself. They wouldn't necessarily be the attendees, but um, they would be people that put on events or dinners or bring people together.
Is that
They
all they do?
No, this is what I have so far.
So what I'm trying to
Um,
get you to is because that was very generic,
okay,
very broad. High achievers who, what was the other part of it?
that excel in their craft.
That excel in their craft. There's no, that's a self, that's me deciding that, not you deciding that.
Okay,
I might come to you and say, yeah, I'm a high achiever and I excel at my craft. And when you get to talking to me, you're like, not so much.
right.
So
That's fair.
your target customer is someone you define. And really, again, you want to pick qualities that will help you identify them at a conference, at a networking event, in a grocery store, someplace where something where you can look and go, that could be one of my customers. And then you talk a little more, you're like, yep, could very well be one of my, yep, this is one of my customers. Remember the example that we had where the woman said, these are, she was a PR firm for these particular B2B companies in these particular sectors. So immediately she can tell this is or is not a customer.
Oh, I did write. It was entrepreneurs, consultants, actors. So like someone in those like positions. Those are the three that I came up: entrepreneurs, consultants, and actors.
And what do those three have in common?
They're professionals. They focus on their craft.
I want you to go back again to thinking about what specifically you offer these businesses, these entrepreneurs, what it is you really are offering, and then going, who needs that? It's not just who can benefit from it, because if you stretch it out, there's a lot of different people who could benefit, but who specifically needs to do this? Who has
people
to
that want
have
to
their
be
story
seen.
told correctly?
People that want to be seen. People that want to be known.
So high visibility people. That's fine. A high visibility person. Start there. So now that's an easy way to identify somebody. If they're out and about, if they're on posters or if they've started a little small speaking circuit, maybe they've got a few podcasts, they were a podcast guest somewhere, high visibility people. But now build that out. What is it about this high visibility person that needs a story told? Why does that particular high visibility quality require their story to be told in a specific way? And when you think about that, think about what you're seeing that's not happening. Think about what's making you go, they didn't do that right. Whoever is working with them isn't telling them the right thing because this is what I'm hearing, but this is what it should be. Build that out and think about the person who would need that.
Okay. Well, the only thing that so far has been that they've reached a ceiling to how far they've been able to take themselves with their high visibility, and they have a lot of other responsibilities that adding on marketing themselves visually is takes a lot of time, energy, and skill that they don't have. So that's what
How do you know they've reached a ceiling?
I would find that out through conversation. I wouldn't be able to pick that out in the conference.
You would talk to everybody to find out which ones hit a ceiling.
I see. That I guess I'm that type of person that would do that. So it does take the time, but that's limited.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
You're really so close. And again, think about
Well,
what
that's
you
good.
do. And then when you think of that high visibility person, think about what it is you can offer them from a benefit perspective. And then think, who would that benefit? Who would benefit from having this done specifically? Who has something that's causing them pain by not having this? And really give that some thought and mash that around a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate you.
Uh-huh.
So it looks like Wanda had her hand up, and then Juanita, and then Candida.
Okay. Wanda.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay. I'm still confused somewhat when it comes to my target. I know the last class we said the state, but I just don't think that's my target because it's kind of impossible can't even get them on the phone. But my target is, you said, who needs this? The Medicaid transportation.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the client who has Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I feel like my target is medical facilities because I constantly stay in contact. I walk in, introduce myself when I drop someone off, and they give me a lot. The state gives me half my business, and those facilities give me a lot of those people. And it's for me to gain the relationship to keep them coming
Yes.
back.
So I want you to recognize that your target customer is who you say is your ideal customer. You can do business with 15 people, but one of them is going to be somebody that you say, if I had 100 of these, I would be blissfully happy.
Okay.
This is my ideal customer.
So are you breaking it down into like dialysis center, chemo center? No. Ugh.
What do you, again, when you think about all of those people, say, what do they have in common? What's the one thing that they all have or they all need that makes them the ideal customer?
Medicaid and need a ride.
So you have it's your target customer, someone who has Medicaid and has no support because the reason you need a ride is important.
Okay.
So you have someone who's on Medicaid who has whatever the situation is that makes them need a ride. But the issue is, do those people pay you? How do you then bridge that to the ones who pay you? If Medicaid is paying,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to figure out how to get that customer, either get the customer to be the state advocate, so that if, let's say, they're not on
No,
Medicaid.
no, 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 no. So say like let's say Buffalo General, and the social worker there gives me 5 people that week. When that person get in my car, my customer service and my skills have to get them to make appointment 2, make appointment 3 only with me. So when they call medical answering to make the appointment, they request me.
So again, that goes right back to me saying, which of those customers, what is it about these customers that makes one ideal customer? And again, you can make that up from 5 different customers. You like, this one had Medicaid, this one has they're in a certain location, this one maybe has a regular,
They
so
all have
weekly. So that's a good start. You're just like what we just talked about with Sasha and the high visibility, starting with they're on Medicaid. I
Mm-hmm.
already know that my target customer is on Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
What else? That's the piece you just build out from there. What else about this customer makes them ideal for me that I want to build my business around them? I'm guessing something about the lack of support and the quantity of appointments, because you're taking them to appointments. You don't want somebody who just has a one-off appointment or maybe a once a month appointment. Your target customer maybe is somebody who has a weekly appointment.
Like
That's the kind of
dialysis.
stuff you build out.
Okay. So dialysis in my cancer patient. Okay. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Sure. Juanita,
Okay, so I have a question. Can you name your target customer?
can you say that again?
Can you name your target customer?
I don't know what you say.
Like giving
Name.
persona like a name, you mean, Juanita?
Yes. I
Sure.
wanted to introduce that on my slide to see it would be like my target customer or like one of my customers. Like it's a real customer, but it's a persona of them.
Hmm.
Would that
Yeah,
be okay?
sure. Like I mentioned earlier, that Liz Claiborne has a Liz lady. That's the name. They've named their person a Liz lady, and they've nailed her down to very specifically know who she is. So
Okay.
yes.
I just didn't want to like add them and then it'd be like out of place.
Nope, you're fine.
You know.
Mm-hmm. Shantara.
I just want to make sure because I think Canada was before me, but I just want to make sure.
Oh, I don't see another hand.
Her
Yeah.
hand was up, but
Candida has her hand up, but she's not on camera. Candida, are you there?
Oh,
Oh,
there
you're
she
on
is.
mute.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I hit the button. Yes, I did have my hand up.
Okay, go ahead.
So thinking about the target customer again, I know you said not to add everybody, but I was trying to target rich people because I want to be able to create later a foundation where I can provide free housekeeping to like the people who have Medicaid, but maybe the Medicaid won't cover it. The vets have the vet care, but maybe the vet care won't cover it for whatever reason, but they still need the services. So trying to think of it like that, and that's where I mentioned the lady having the medical insurance. So I don't know. I'm still trying to think of how else can I come up with my target customer.
Yeah, well, that hasn't changed. Your target customer is who you say it is based on the solution that you provide, and you decide of all the different options you have for a target customer. You really are the ones who decides this is who I want to target. Again, those words are really important. Your target customer is your ideal customer. Those are two very specific words that you want to focus on.
So should I say that my target customer is rich people?
If that's who you're targeting, I mean, that's your business and your solution has to fit that target because you got to market
Okay.
to them. So
Okay.
you decide what's involved in that rich people description because it wouldn't just be rich people. You've got
Yeah.
some specific pieces to build into that.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right, Shantara.
okay, so I have a question, but I know that you kind of helped me, Kimberly, with trying to figure this target audience out.
Yes.
And you offer just for Canada, she offered me a specific salary range, right? So I'm looking at professional women, maybe under the age of 45, with a salary of $50,000 or more, or something like that. So that might also help. Because when Kimberly gave it to me that way, it like cleared up a lot for me. So I just wanted to share that up. The other thing that I had a question about is my problem statement now. So one of the comments you left was that for my solution specifically was that guesswork doesn't make what I do. Removing the guesswork doesn't make me a pain reliever, right? That they can find other ways to eliminate the guesswork, whether that is through Stitch Fix, Pinterest, and yes, but they can't do it like me. And so that's what I'm trying to like figure out, right? So with Stitch Fix, they give you a survey and they mail you outfits, and then you kind of decide whether or not you like that style or if that fits you. And then you send back what you don't like. With Pinterest, you get the ideas and then you have to like see and figure out whether or not that fits your body, your style, and all of those kind of things. For me, it's that hands-on experience of walking, yes, baby, of walking them through the process itself, where they don't have to take the ideas and figure it out on their own. But I'm trying to, how do I say it? How do I get that message across?
So, see, you have some gold in your feedback, but this is where I want to also say for everybody, when you're talking to that customer to help you understand what the problem is, don't stop at just what problem do I solve for you, because they may not be able to articulate it that way. What you would ask is, What is it that you came here specifically for me for? What had you tried before? What are you now able to do after working with me that you weren't able to do before? This is giving you more intel about what the problem that you solve. And you talked just about Pinterest and Stitch Fix. And so those things solve problems and they solve problems for specific women. So what is it that makes your woman say, I need something more? What is she experiencing, or what has she experienced, or even what she wants to experience that makes her say, I want this? It's very much just like think of the luxury handbag market. You could go to J.C. Penney. I don't even know if J.C. Penney exists no more, does it? You can go to Macy's and get you a bag. You can go to Coach and get a bag. You can go to Louis Vuitton and get a bag. So what is it that makes that woman say, I am not going to spend Louis Vuitton money. I'm going to go to that sale at Macy's and get that bag and carry it like it's nothing. Or what makes that different woman say, I wouldn't be caught dead carrying that bag from Macy's. If it ain't a Louis, I don't want it. There's something about them that makes that particular thing a, a solution to a problem. For that woman, that Louis woman, there's some status involved in there. For the Macy's woman, she might just be cost conscious. That might be a price thing for her. So what is it that but what I want you specifically to think about is not backwards engineering saying because I offer personal styling, then their problem must be that they can't get personal styling. That's not the problem. The problem is something about the way they carry themselves and the way that they want to present to the people around them that makes them want unique styling, hands-on, walk through, personal touch. That's a specific kind of person that's willing to pay for that. That's the thing. They're willing to pay for that because some people will only shop from a store. Some people were like fashion, what's that one? Fashion Nova. Bring it up, send it in, I'm good. Because they don't have that I don't need to not look like everybody else. When I wear this dress, I'm going to look like me in it. So I don't care if 10 other people have it on. So that's where I'm saying their problem, and the problem you solve is much more psychological than the person who has a business where they fix the heels on the shoe. That's a very obvious problem. My heel came off my shoe. I need it fixed. Yours is going to be much more psychological.
And I guess that's where I'm really struggling, right? So I have all of this feedback from individuals who I have styled in the past. And a lot of it is like, for me, I feel like I am my brand, right? And so a lot of it, I feel like they'll come up to me and be like, Jan, I really love how you dress. And like, I'm just trying to and so I don't know how to figure out like what's the psychological elements that go into
Well, you know what this again is for everybody. You don't need to think about it that hard and engineer it that hard, because guess what? You are the first person you solve the problem for.
Okay.
You are. What problem, when you were trying to get to this point, what were you experiencing before you said, I'm going to do it myself? I'm going to learn it. I'm going to master it, and I'm going to wear it. You were your first customer.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Tiffany.
Hi, I just opened the email you sent me. I don't see the comments on it. If you're able to resend it by any chance.
Okay, I will send it during the break for sure.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to because we got some slides to get through. All right, your offer. Make sure you have a distinct offer, especially if you don't have something that is a physical something that you sell that's off the shelf. You want to be very clear when you're talking, you're having that sales conversation of what the solution is from top to bottom. And again, I say this a lot, and I really want you to hear this. You want to be treated just like a customer. You want to treat your customer like you want to be treated as a customer. You don't want someone telling you half the story and you got to extract out of them. How much is it? When am I going to get it? What sizes does it come in? I've just given you my whole problem. Give me the whole solution. So really make it easy as possible for them to say yes to your offer. Come to the table with objections in hand. This goes back to where we talked about industry knowledge. This comes with associations. Nobody here has a business that is a unicorn. Someone somewhere, even if it's not in your immediate area, somebody is doing this business. Find out what it is that people are saying, why people are saying no in that particular industry, in that particular instance, and come with responses to the objections. So when you hear them say, oh, yeah, I'm not so sure because that costs a lot of money. Well, let's talk about that. This is what it's costing you right now. Here's what I'm offering you for this price. If there's something you can take off, not dollars, something within the solution you can take off to lower the price, you as the owner have that flexibility. But don't immediately say that the response to the objection is to give in to the customer. You really want to roll it back to benefits. All about the benefits, all about the problems that they already shared with you in that conversation. Now is not a good time. So you think about Ebony when you're talking about businesses and organizations that have all of these initiatives going on. You want to make it time sensitive. Now's not the right time. Well, when is a good time? Because let's talk about the time that you missed by going X number of months and not being aligned with your values, and customers that left and employees that left. Let's talk about when is it a good time, when after some catastrophic news PR disaster happens and you're trying to make up for that and catch up to your values, when you could be doing this now when it's quiet, when nothing's happening. When you're talking about anything that where you got to talk to somebody else, I have to talk to my husband, I got to talk to my wife, that's no problem. I love doing that. I love getting couples on the phone because sometimes the husband will come in with new ideas that I hadn't even thought about. So let's schedule some time to get both of you on the phone or get both of you on a Zoom or whatever it takes. I can come over and talk to both of you. Come with the solution to the objection right when it's at the conversation. Confidence in pricing. We're going to talk about this pricing because I'm telling you, if I hear one more of y'all coming through the door with big discounts, listen. Discounts are for people who have done business with you before. There is absolutely no scenario that I can think of where it makes sense that the very first time I do business with you, you're slashing your prices for me. One way to do that, if you have a product or service that is brand new, you're not sure how people will receive it, you're not sure what price point you want to put it at, the way to do that is to put it at the higher price. Let's say the higher price is $3,000. That's the regular price, $3,000. I have a promotion going on right now where I've taken it down to $2,200. But the price is $300. I have a promotion going on that is $2,200. That's saying to right away, that price is not going to be $2,200 forever. It's saying the value of that thing is $3,000, not $2,200. And there's a scenario where I can give it to you for this price. But when you lower the price, you're lowering the value. If someone says it's too expensive, the first thing you want to make sure is this a target customer. You don't ever give a discount to someone who's not a target customer just because they can't pay you. Your target customer will pay you for the solution if you have communicated the value of the product or service. So the first thing you want to go back to when they say, well, that's too much money, let's talk about the value. Let's talk about the benefits. Let's talk about how it's going to help you. Let's talk about the cost of not doing it versus getting the cost of not solving the problem versus solving the problem. That's the value that you're bringing. So that's where you want to start. If there's still some price sensitivity, that's again where you start seeing how you can take features off to bring the price down. They don't get the whole pie for the price of a slice. That's not the way it works. So we can give you the pie for this price, or we can give you the slice for this price. But you don't go, you know what I'm saying. So that's where you want to, this is what you've built. You know it works. You know it has benefits. Stand on that. Be confident in that. And when you are confident with that, people will start to trust that, okay, you really know what you're talking about. But if you're giving me a price that you're lowering your voice when you give me the price, you're looking into the distance when you give me the price, you're looking at your fingernails. So now I'm starting to not trust that you know what this is. Stand on the value, communicate the value, and hold on to your price. Follow up. There are times when that customer will move away from you. Here's what I say. If it's at all possible during the sales conversation, especially if it's somewhere like at an event or a conference or something like that, take them to your webpage. When you start talking about what that offer is, don't just say, to go back to the foot example, don't just say, I have this cream. Say to them, hey, do you pull your phone out, go to this website. All right, go to that particular product. This is going to show you, see right here, it shows you all the ingredients in there. This is the price, it's shipping. I can ship it right to you. So you take them there, it's already in their phone. They already have it up. They're probably going to be looking at it after you walk away, going through your whole site. You want to make sure that that's as easy as possible for it to stick in their minds. But if it does not turn into a purchase, then follow up. Make sure you end that conversation with some contact information. So you're not chasing them. You're not wondering, oh man, are they going to call me? Call them. Call them. Let them know that this is something that they need. This is going to be a benefit to them, and they don't want to lose out on it. You can call them on a different topic. It doesn't have to be calling up, hey, I'm calling up to see if you're going to buy that because you said you were going to buy that. No, that's I wouldn't advise that. I would advise go, hey, saw you at the conference. I'm just wondering how you got home. This is what happened when I got home. And I was kind of busy, but if you want to reconnect and talk about that foot cream, give me a call. Also on the website, I'm going to send you the link because I got your email. I'll send you the link again just in case you missed it. Here it is. And then we can set up a time. Follow up, follow up, follow up. Just like us, sometimes we get busy. Sometimes we mean to call somebody. Sometimes that website gets lost and darn, what was that website? I don't remember. And I'm trying to Google and can't find it. All kinds of reasons why people don't close that sale. Don't assume that it's because they don't want to buy. Follow up, follow up, follow up. And I would recommend some kind of tool where you can keep all of that information instead of in your head, even if it's on your phone, something where you can keep those contacts and keep that information so the follow-up is easier. Shantara.
I've just seen a comment in the chat, and I was curious about that because I've seen it done both ways where some people do like the packages and the pricing up front, and then other people will ask for like the scope of the work, or have you reach out and then do the pricing? I guess what is the recommendation around that? Like in the chat, it just says, they need to see the scope of the work before they could offer a price. So I'm just curious as to what your advice is around something like that, because I've seen it done both ways.
Let me see if I could find it in here. Who was this? Let's see.
It was, I think, Canada, and I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, Canada Johnson.
Candida.
Can't say it one more time.
Candida.
Candida, sorry, thank you.
You're welcome.
Get off my screen. I need to make this bigger.
It's the second last one, Kim.
Okay, here we go. So in that situation where you have to do a site visit, that's not, you would not give them a price without a site visit. However, what you could do, especially if they're sending you pictures or things, but what the safest thing to do is arrange, is to be able to say something like this would be between this much and this much. When I did events, I actually created a flyer, or it was a series of 3 flyers, and it had 3 different decoration setups. And I did a kind of high level description of each setup. And then I had a range underneath each one. So let's say it was a room that had just colored tablecloths, colored napkins, and a little centerpiece. And then I would break down what the decoration or the core description was, and say this is between 1,000 and 2,500. Then we have another one that might have bigger centerpieces, chair covers, and something else. This is now between 3,000 and 5,000. Something like this is big, tall centerpieces, fancy lighting. You're talking 10,000 and up. So now they can see and go, okay, this is what I am thinking. And if I'm thinking all these lights and things and $10,000, okay, that's a little too rich for my blood. Let's look down back here at this $3,000 one. Okay, so I didn't have to give them a price. I didn't have to shock them. I didn't have to make them feel bad for not being able to buy the bigger one. They were able to select something that was within their price range. And then within there, we can talk about the specifics once I know what you actually want. So a range is the safest way to do that.
Thank you.
Candida?
Yes, the reason why I asked for pictures is because, well, one of my goal is to eventually go global. Right now, I'm just servicing all of the 8 counties in Western New York. Even that for a site visit will be difficult. So with the picture, I'm asking for descriptions, because like when I went to a home to do a standard cleaning, sight unseen, without the pictures, I walked into like a level 5 horde.
Right. But you have people who work in those other counties, so you still would rely on them to do a site visit and rely on them to give you the accurate pricing.
So I will have what's it called, personal assistants for each county. But I didn't think to have each personal assistant for each visit.
The person who's going to clean, you're going to hire somebody to actually do that clean.
Yes.
That person should be the one to give the price. They would give it to you. You would give it to the customer, but that person who's going to do the clean would do the site visit.
Okay.
They would take a look at it. They would come back to you and say, this is probably going to be a $2,000 job. You would call that customer and say, okay, it's going to be a $2,000 job. Do you want it? And then that person that you did the site visit would do the work.
Okay.
Good?
Okay, so then gonna rework that. Okay.
Yes, that's where you're getting an actual price by what you actually see.
So then I would charge the cleaners, I would charge for like the estimate, because I would have to give them something for the site visit. No?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So no 17 personal assistants. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so it is 6:20 break. No, wait. Yep. 6:20 we're supposed to, I'm late. So let's do 15 minutes. Come back at 6:36, thereabouts.
Sounds good. I'm
All
gonna drop
right.
in the reminders because I
I'm
know
sorry. I didn't know my camera was off. I'm sorry.
it's okay, Wanda. I've been seeing you. It's all right. I'm gonna drop in the reminders that I went over earlier because I know a few folks came in and out. So just in case. But see you back in 15 minutes, everybody.
15, yes. We were talking about follow-ups, sales conversations, and all that. So I want to do just a really quick exercise. I got a lot packed in here, but I do want to do this really quick illustration for you just to show you about follow-ups and leads and how easy it is actually to drop it into just a numbers game and not make it a huge deal. So can everybody see the spreadsheet? Good. Okay. So over here we have, let's just say this is a business that has a 10% conversion rate, meaning for all the leads that come in, 10% of them actually turn into customers. That's what we talked about early on when we talked about the funnel. You can look that up from an industry standpoint. You can even see if you can get to the library, see if they have any information on specifically your niche within the industry. But that is a number, the starting number that you work with, your conversion rate. So let's say you made one call and there were 43 people, and say my goal was to get people to clap for me. Like if I did something on this call and I needed to get people to clap for me. I'm on this call, there's 43 people on the call, 10% of them, which is my conversion rate, 10% of them clapped. That's only 4 people. Doesn't seem like a lot, but let's say I do this every single day and there's different numbers of people on the call. I'm just going to fill in a few because you get the idea here. Within a week, I'm up to 18 people that have clapped for me. So let's take this over to business, something more what we're here for. And let's say whatever this event is, let's say it's a conference and I talk to 12 people, but in this particular case, my conversion rate is 5%. Whatever my business is in this industry, the conversion rate is 5%. Let's say I talk to 12 people. And then here, this is a different event. Every day I'm going to something, and that has a different number of people here. Again, making stuff up. Different types of events could be networking, could be a conference. So within this week, you now have 6 conversions. You've talked to 129 people about your product or service, 6 of them bought. Let's say your price is, I'm going to make it $95. That's how much it costs you. Make that. That's what the price is of your product or service. That's not right then, because what is this? Oh, gotta drag it down. Where's my thing? So anyway, this should be, is this times this. So in a week, you made $612.75. Just by putting yourself in these places. You have this channel, this marketing channel, and that channel might be events. You're going to something, speaking to these people in person. But let's just say you had 2 of these events in that week. That's driving 10 people. It's really just numbers. Where can I put myself in the space where the biggest number of my target customer can be, and then tell them about the benefits in the service and continue to do that every day? How can every day that should be your thought as the owner? Because your job as the owner of the business is to find work for your employees. I'm going to say that again. Your job as the owner of the company is to find work for your employees. And at this stage, you are your only employee. So you should be figuring out, where are the people that I'm going to present my solution to, and how do I get the most of them to see it? This marketing channel could be my website, could be a lead magnet, could be a quiz, something that's driving. You could have some channel that is a radio ad. So you're talking one radio ad, but that radio ad could reach 350 people. 350 people, 18 people off of that one channel. So that's where I'm saying, when you are able to figure out who your people are, where they are, figure out what they're listening to. This is part of the psychographics, what stations they listen to, what television stations they watch, what shows are meaningful. You put yourself in places where the most amount of them can see you, and you could get a single channel that's bringing you enough leads that you can get a conversion of 18 that's automatic. Look how that number jumped just from 24 sales of a $95 product. This is why it's so important to get this down and get your marketing, because again, the best business in the world is not going to sell if people don't know it exists. You must get leads, and the leads are really about getting in front of that target customer and then converting them with the solution that you have. So does anybody have questions on that? That was a little quick show you more eyes, more ears on your product equals more conversions, which equals more sales. Questions? Everybody get that? I'm guessing that's a yes.
I have a question actually.
Yes.
What are some tips, I guess, on like more B2B marketing?
It's no
Like,
different.
okay.
You're still, once you've identified the business and the type of business, it's very much the same thing, because the people inside that business are still people. Who is it that's making that decision to buy you? Who is it that where are they? Do they belong to an association that you can sponsor something for? Do they belong to a group? Do they all go to a networking group that you can join? Is there something that they all have in common where they congregate that you can be a part of?
Mm-hmm. That's something I have to think about because like we target like creative businesses with our marketing. So we have to find out where they would be and like what associations they might be a
Right.
part of.
Yes, association and conferences. Man,
Mm-hmm.
they love conferences.
Mm-hmm.
Create and Cultivate is in September. That's a huge one for artist type and creative types.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so we got that. Leads, leads, leads. And then you want to measure that. You want to have some way, just like that simple spreadsheet you just saw. What are the channels? What are my marketing channels? Am I doing ads on Facebook? And again, I'm going back to the homework. There was a lot of inbound marketing, but you all should have some kind of outbound marketing, something where you are placing an ad, sponsoring something, putting a promotion out, something that you are initiating and that you can collect and control that traffic. So your leads you want to measure, what channel it is, how did it work? Again, if you're doing a promotion where you have a brochure, a flyer, put a code on it so that if everybody that uses that code, you know that they got that flyer and you can say this many people came in and purchased this particular package for this time period that we had this promotion out. That was a good spend because it cost us X amount of dollars to print them up and get them distributed, and this many people bought it. Or you could say, we put this out here and only 2 people came in and bought the package. But you have to measure it. You want to see what the leads are, measure how many came in and responded to that, measure how many of them actually became customers, and then what were the triggers? Because you want to just repeat the good ones and forget about the bad ones. Don't keep spending your money on things that don't work. And marketing costs money. It does, just so you know. Now we're talking about growth. You've got leads coming in, you've got sales coming in. Now you can start talking about how do I now grow out this business? How do I take it just from me doing everything and start putting some hooks in place so that other people can come in and do some of the work? It's no different than any other place you've ever worked. There are departments. You wouldn't need all of the departments that you've ever worked in, but some basic ones you want to have some. And again, when I say departments, it's really just a focus area for you. Your accounting, you should be looking at that every single day. Trust me, it can get away from you before you know it. From experience. It can get away from you if you're not looking at it every day. Human resources, that's gotten a little fuzzy now because we have AI. There's a lot of things that AI can do for us. We also have resources like Fiverr where we can outsource work, especially at our size. That's really beneficial. You don't want to bring on an actual W-2 employee until you're doing that real consistent revenue. And you'll know when it's time to do that when the work is coming in so fast that you don't want to keep swapping out contractors. Now it's time to get at least one resource that's a dedicated resource for your business. But don't do that too soon because that can be a disaster. While you're talking about capacity, I heard that a lot, especially with the 2 doulas on the line. You want to understand how much can I take on as a sole owner of this business? What is my capacity? Whatever it is I produce, how much of it can I produce in let's say a month? How much can I do in a month? And based on how much I can do in a month, can this business sustain me at the price that I'm offering it at? That's a simple calculation. If let's say my highest package or my highest offering is $1,000, and my capacity is I can do 8 customers in a month at $1,000. Is $8,000 a month enough to sustain my business, to pay for all the things that I have to pay for in my, just to keep the lights on in my business? And if it's my full-time thing, it needs to also support my life. So that's a very, very simple calculation, but you need to understand, and here's a little breakdown of how to determine is or what my capacity is and how I can fit that into my growth plan for how I want to build it. So somebody just had a hand up.
Danielle had her hand up. Danielle, you want to come off mute?
Yes, yeah, I did have my hand up, but I think you might have answered my question because I was thinking about with the homework assignment, I know you wrote that about the capacity that I put in there. Um, but so when I'm filling out that part, when I was doing it, I was like putting down my capacity that I could do right now. But should I be writing like projected if this was like my full-time thing that I was doing? Because right now my capacity is different because I still work full-time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I was planning around that. But should I be writing for like, you get what I'm saying, like long term?
Nope, you write for right now what your
Oh,
capacity
okay.
is. But when you're thinking about that, the reason that that was in the homework is because you want to be thinking, what can I sell versus what can I do? And again, that is this enough to sustain me? And I think
Okay.
almost everybody said they were selling at their capacity, meaning out of all the leads that could possibly come in the sales conversion, I can convert 10 people, and I'm already at 10 people is the most that I could possibly do. So you have no room to grow by yourself. In order to grow, you're going to have to hire somebody else, bring somebody else in, or you're going to have to somehow raise your prices if you have room in your pricing to raise that so that more revenue can come in from those 10. But growth can't happen if you're selling at the same capacity you can produce. And that's why you want to look at that number and understand what that number is. Candida?
Yes, with my capacity, I was actually thinking projected, like what I'm projecting at minimum. Because right now, how I transition, how I operate since I lost my last customer, I would have to stop my advertising. One of the things I'm doing, like 400 to 500 cold calls daily. I won't be able to do that. I won't be able to post as much as I am. I won't be able to like attend all the events that I'm trying to attend because I'll be busy cleaning. So right now with the cleaning, if I was to put my capacity for cleaning gigs, I would say 0. But I can do myself because of all the advertising I'm doing.
That's where you got to understand advertising and bringing in leads. If you don't have a way to actually perform those, it's like falling into a hole. So there's a
I
balance
have
that you have to figure out if it's 200 calls instead of 400 so that you can use that capacity to actually perform the jobs or whatever that's other action you need to take to perform. That's what you need to be balancing that against.
I have the cleaners applications coming in. So I have right now almost 200 applicants, job applicants.
But you also, again, you have people waiting to get their homes cleaned. So that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. You want to balance that between how you're going to, whoever's going to do the cleaning and whoever's bringing in the jobs to clean, those need to be connected. They can't be independent functions.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, you want to your capacity is really, you want to understand what that is so that when it's time to grow, you're able to figure out where and how you want to build that out. So again, this is just use a very simple example, 3 examples: a cupcake baker, massage person, and a logo design person. This is they define that core offering and what it takes to do that logo design, that single logo, the hours it takes to do that logo, how many of that they can do in the time period that they have. And then you, again, calculate, is that going to be enough to sustain a business? If you have leads, I'm saying you want to identify how to build that capacity with another person. You want to identify that as soon as possible. What you don't want to put yourself in a position is that you do have this interest. People do catch on and go, hey, man, this is fantastic. I want it. And now you've got 25 people that you can't service, that won't wait for you to go out and now figure out how to expand your capacity. They'll go find somebody else. So having a person in mind, having a plan in mind for how you increase that capacity is something you want to do now before you need it. We talk about the 3 hats. This is something that I really hope all of us can really internalize and understand, because when we step out into our own business, especially coming from an employer, we tend to focus more on the function of the business. And we wear this technician hat and we rock that hat like it is next year's big thing and don't want to let it go. But that technician hat really is the first hat you're going to want to, it's the first hat you're going to wear, but it should also be the first hat you take off. What I was just talking about, capacity. You don't want to be the one always doing the work. Then you step up to the second hat, which is the manager hat. You do get a resource in. That resource is doing the work. You're overseeing the work. You're, again, maintaining your special sauce as much as possible, but someone else is bringing in that capacity. Then when you've got that as a well-oiled machine, and you maybe even have a few different people under that single manager, maybe you even have a couple of managers, now you're seated firmly in that entrepreneurial role. You're determining the direction of the company. You're coming up with ways to grow the company. You're connected more from an industry standpoint. That's being an entrepreneur. That means that even in the very hands-on business, you could be on the beach in Cancun and your business is still making money. Work is still being done at your business. That's the business model we should all be aspiring to. We should all be building that model. I used to do this one slide, and I didn't do it this year, but there was an example of, if you had an opportunity, let's say you got a contract and that contract is for $50,000. And you had the choice of either A, performing that work, and let's say it's going to take you 6 months, performing that work for 6 months and making $50,000, or hiring out people to do that work, and they do the work for the 6 months. You pay them $45,000. You keep $5,000. Which would you do? Would you work the 6 months, keep the 50,000? Would you hire it out and keep the 5? Drop it in the chat. Which one would you do? Anybody? 50,000 or 5,000? Which one would you do?
I'm sorry, Kim, can you repeat that one more time?
Sure, you have a contract. You can either perform that contract yourself for 6 months and get $50,000, or you could hire resources and they do the work for 45,000, you keep the 5,000. Somebody tell me why you would hire it out.
I'll go. I would hire it out because 6 months is a long time of work, dedicating to one client or like one contract. So 5K, even though it's lesser front up, you're able to accumulate and take on more work, so it'll kind of offset it in the long run.
Exactly. Thank you, Ariana.
Of course.
That is how you do a business. 50,000 is a great number, but 5,000 for doing Zippo, you're sitting home eating Cheez-Its, finding more opportunities, while people out here are making your business $45,000, building a reputation, and you have the time and capacity to go out and find 5 more of those contracts. That's the seat you want to be in. That's the business model you want to build. So think about that as you're putting all these things together. How do I get from wearing hats 1, 2, and 3 down to 2 and 3, down to 3? Resources. I know we talked about this one time before, but I'm telling y'all again, if y'all don't know Claude, you better know Claude tonight. Claude is an amazing tool. And when you get this slide deck, these links are in here. This link is to a tutorial that will show you how to really fine-tune Claude so that it really is even more of a collaborator and knows a lot more about you and about your business, or however you want to train it and whatever you want to train it on. But this is going to give you a really step-by-step on how to really make it sing. Also, for these sales conversations, let's see if I can play this, if I can do this. I don't like ChatGPT. We fight often whenever I use it, so I don't use it, except for ChatGPT has the ability to talk back and forth. You have conversations. One of the top uses for that is role playing. You can put together the target customer, their problem, and have a mock sales conversation with Claude or with ChatGPT. I'm going to play this a little bit here, and then you can build that, that practice of talking to your customer. So if you have ChatGPT, I'm going to do it on my phone. So you've got that little next to the microphone is a little wave marks here. All you do is hit that, and now you want to request permission. Yep, you got it. You hit that little wave button and it will talk to you. This thing was talking I must have got it. I must have not been nice to it last time I talked to it.
Kim, I think I'm not sure if everybody else is seeing what I'm seeing, but I only see your slide right now. So if you're clicking
Yes, because I was gonna do a demonstration on my phone.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Also, there is a question in the chat saying, what's the difference between Claude and ChatGPT?
a world of difference. A world of difference. I can't even ask every time. There's no comparison. Claude is very much a collaborator and doesn't depend as much on the prompt, where with ChatGPT you still have to really figure out how to write your prompt to get the right thing out of it. But again, one benefit is that it will talk back to you. So you hit the little button and say, I'm trying to have a mock conversation where I get some practice talking to my customers. Can you help me do that?
Absolutely. I'm happy to play the role of a customer to make it as realistic as possible. Can you tell me a bit about what product or service you'd be offering in this scenario? Then we'll jump right in.
Yeah, I sell fishing lures to fishermen.
Got it. So whenever you're ready, feel free to start as if I'm a potential customer browsing for something that'll help me catch the big one.
Okay, so that's why, his voice, I really like this voice, and I'm really glad Claude don't have it because we could get real inappropriate real fast. So but that voice right there, but you can use it to have the conversations and really practice talking to your customers and getting some spontaneous feedback on what that would be like. So I highly recommend ChatGPT for that. But for everything else, I recommend Claude. Then this is another training site that you'll find that has tools to help you really build and grow and incorporate AI into your business. And then Canva is another one, and Canva is starting to, probably in the next couple of months, they're doing a huge update where they have baked AI into a lot of their offering, their products inside of Canva that can really help you build on that. So those links are in the slides. Feel free to jump on in there. And Claude is Claude.ai today if you don't know Claude. Ooh, don't say you don't know Claude. So planning to scale, we just talked about this. Really do that now before you need it. Figure out what that capacity planning is, what your capacity, what your goals are for the business, how much you need to make. Those are really, really simple calculations that you can make. How much does my business need to make? How much am I charging right now? What are my prices? And then just divide those numbers. That's going to tell you how many sales you need to make in a year. And then you can decide, can I make that? Do I have what I need to make that number of sales? Do I need to change one of the numbers on this side of the equation? But this is the kind of work you want to do now before you need it, before you get out there and have to turn down business, or before you, worst case scenario is you take on more than you can really do, and then you don't really do a good job, and it tarnishes your reputation, and you have to build back up from that. Really good owner work that you can do right now. So that's it for the full business. Now we're back down to the pitch, the ask, and getting that slide right. You've done all of that work. You walked through your competitors, your leads, your sales and marketing, your problem solution, and now comes the ask. And you want to have built that story for them all the way up to this point where you're talking 6 to 7 slides. You want to use that to build this case right here, because on this slide, you're going to really demonstrate what it is you need, how much you're going to use. If you have a situation, again, I think I mentioned somewhere earlier in the sessions, if you have a situation where these funds will partially pay for what you need, you're going to want to demonstrate on the slide how you're going to make that difference up. You don't want to come in and say, I have a need of $50,000 and I would love for you to contribute 5,000, and I have no idea where I'm getting 45,000 in the balance. That's not a good ask. You want that to be something that's going to make a difference in your business. And again, it can be over, but you might say it's, instead of 50,000, it's 5,000 from you, and then I'm kicking in the other 2,500 to do whatever it is I need to do, or buy whatever equipment I need to buy. Just be very specific and make sure you are showing where it's going to make a difference. So you want to start with that goal. What is it you're trying to accomplish with your business? And really, again, we see very often this lump number of, I need $4,000 of it for marketing. What does that mean? 4,000 to, how are you going to spend that marketing, those marketing dollars? Be specific, break it out. Talk about what that is going to do for your business. If you're going to use marketing as the ask, how many leads is that going to give you versus what you have now? What's that increase? 50% more leads that will lead to X number of percent more conversions. If you're going to use it for equipment, how much more production are you going to get out of that than what you're getting right now? I can produce 40 cupcakes right now. If I can get this equipment, it's going to allow me to make 75 cupcakes an hour, a day, whatever that is. Specific. Really make it clear what the difference that is going to make for your business. So putting all of that together, this goes back to the template that was sent out a week or so ago. You really don't need a whole bunch of slides to do this pitch. You've got 3 minutes, a minimum of 3 minutes, a maximum of 4 minutes. You want to make sure that the bulk of your time is spent where it counts. Introduction, problem, solution, they should be your quickest slides. You don't want to spend if you have to spend a lot of time explaining what the solution is and explaining what the problem is, that comes across as you're not clear on your problem solution. Quick, easy, what it is, how it works. Then get to the real thing. How does the business make money? Who is your target customer? Who's your competitor? How are you doing lead generation? How are you getting people in that pipeline? What's the ask? So these are some of the statements that we went over the past few weeks. How you introduce yourself, how you talk about your problem solution, how you talk about what you sell. Danielle.
Yeah, with oh, my mind is going blank. Can you just go back to the slide you were just at?
Sure.
What I was about to say.
Welcome to past 7 o'clock, Danielle.
Listen, when I tell y'all I have not slept, like it's just, yeah. Birthing was, I don't know what these people was doing 9 months ago, but everybody was doing the same thing at the same time. But with the problem statement or the problem slide, is it too much to put like statistics in there? Is that too like
you can put statistics in there, but again, I wouldn't make the statistics so large that you now have to explain your piece of it. You don't want to be saying something like 75% of women are in this particular scenario, but then your piece of it is really this much of it that you now have to explain. So if you're going to use a statistic, make it as close as possible to what it is you're illustrating. One other thing I want to say, excuse me, as we're going through these, your slides they should be as little words as possible. You don't want the judges to be tuning you out to try to read everything on your slide. The example that was sent out was a great example of few words on there that state the case, but you can say whatever you need to say to fill in those gaps. Don't put too much on the slide that they're trying to read it, but then don't put so little on the slide that you're now spending 2 minutes on each slide to try to explain why these 4 words are on the slide. Use the template as a great guide for how to balance the amount of text that you put on your slides. But what your slide says doesn't have to be what you say. So this is, again, these are from each of each of the 7 slides. These are the statements pulled from those examples that were in the lessons in the presentations. Great to run through these and make sure you are able to fill in all of these blanks with your information. Once you have that information, how you lay it out is certainly up to you. We've given you the template, we give you the guide, but It's your show, it's your pitch. How to use that time? Again, you'll notice the quickest ones are those first couple. Spending the bulk of the amount of time where it counts, where it makes a difference, where the money is. How are you making the money? How much are you making? What are you going to do with the money we give you? That's the money slides is where the time should be spent. So this is a guide, but really I'm saying this because you're going to hear it when we do the semifinals. You're going to find people who are wanting to kind of tell the whole story of how they came into business and who they are, and that they're going to blow through that introduction time in no time and find themselves struggling to get the rest of the presentation out at the end. Don't let that be you. Make it memorable. You're talking to people, you're going to be pitching to people who hear business pitches on a regular basis, who deal with businesses all day, all night. Make sure your pitch is memorable. Make sure that they really are understanding that you understand your business. That's probably the most obvious thing, but so many people miss it every year. You want to show that you know your business, you know your industry, you know what's going on outside of that bubble you created and built. Customers, industry, your business. 3 things you kind of want to leave them with the impression, I've done the work. I know what's going on here. Now you can take a chance to practice delivering that to somebody, anybody. If you don't have anybody to deliver it to, record it. Record it on Zoom, record it on your phone, but practice it out loud, run through it and run through it again and run through it again. And then when you're done, run through it again, because those minutes go fast. And when you're kind of nervous, trying to get things out, you want to make sure that this stuff, the way I say to do it and recommend to do it, is get it to where you know exactly where you are in time by your script. Meaning I know that by the time I get to my slide on lead generation, I'm 2 minutes in. So I got a feel of how much more time I have left. Get it to where you really got it. These markers are in here like, yeah, that's the time, that's the time, that's the time. So I'm comfortable I'm not running over time. We've gotten so much better over the years, Jahida, because we've had some back when we first started. You 4 minutes in and you only on slide 4? How can this be? So we've gotten much better. But listen, the points matter. There's no grace in there. The time is the time. Do not let it be you that has this beautiful pitch, this wonderful business, but you didn't time it right. And now you're not even going on to the finals because you are over by a second. It's literally that serious. When you got these tight competitions, you cannot have any sort of grace in it, a second. So practice, practice, time it, practice, practice. That's all I got.
All right. Any questions, ladies?
I have a question. Are we able to submit our pitch pre-submission, like as like a final glance, final feedback type of thing before we actually submit it through?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. And hopefully, whether you pitch or not, whether you go on to the finals or not, hopefully you have some good information to really build your sustainable business. Go back through the videos for anything that you have questions on. Ask Jahaira and Marisol. They're very good resources. They work with businesses all day long. Phenomenal resources. But don't let this be a one and done. Really build you spent the time to build a business. Get out there and benefit people. People need what you're offering. People need what you have available. But you have to make it so it's sustainable for you and make sure you price it right, make sure you're speaking that value, keep the benefits always in the front of your mind. Always remember you are as much a customer as you are a business owner, and you can treat your customers the same way you like to be treated as a customer. Questions?
I have one question about pricing.
Yes.
In terms of like how we display our prices, what are some of the benefits and I guess drawbacks of posting your prices online versus not? Like having that transparent on your website versus not?
It depends
Yeah.
on what your customer, how your customer likes to buy. And I would say for you, for the type of business you have, it's probably safer to put a range
Mm.
because it is so many different moving pieces within what you do.
Mhm.
You can do
Okay.
something that's starting at and then a number. You can
Mhm.
say between this number and this number. It's really you don't have to lock yourself into something in print that you're not sure you can sustain.
Mhm.
But I also would say, and I remember yours specifically is as you're growing, you don't want to have two different price levels
Mhm.
because your service is your service. Your product
Mhm.
is your product, and there's value in it.
Mhm.
So you can again say, I'm going to have introductory pricing that's this, but even when you slash the price, even when you give a discount, show the full price.
Mhm.
Make sure that they always have that full price number in their minds
Mhm.
because you don't want them to feel like and get in their heads that you're the cheap version. You're who I
Mhm.
go to when I don't have money.
That makes sense.
So always show that full price, show the line through it, or show the percentage discount, show their price under it so they have that full number. But use your starting at your ranges to allow them to have some visibility if that's what you want, transparency for your business,
Mhm.
without having to lock into a specific number.
Okay. Well, because right now, like our plan is to like do a free consultation, see what the client might need, and then kind of recommend a package from there. And like obviously the price will depend on the package we recommend.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess having like a starting app kind of leaves them primed for something.
And if you're doing that, do not, if there's any pushback on a price, resist lowering the price
Mhm.
of this whatever package you put together. Make it
Mhm.
modular enough that you can say, you know what, we can pull these two items out and start with that for this
Mhm.
price, and then bring in these others later if that works better for you. But you do not get all of these things for a lower price.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just one thing to add to that, just as a general concept, I think it's pretty or it should be, right, pretty standard across the board for everybody to provide that transparency because you got to remember you're the expert in your industry. So, you can't expect that your clients will already know what the pricing should be for your industry. So just try not to take it personal when somebody is like, oh my God, like that's too much, right? They don't know, they don't know what they don't know. So as a standard practice, it might be good to just start being very transparent because they will shop around, right? If they're not your ideal client, a lot of times they're going to shop around. But if they are, they're not even going to think twice when you give them your price point.
And you just touched a nerve. You just touched a nerve. Let me tell y'all something. Because listen, not only am a small business, I love to use a small business. I do business with small businesses. Do not, do not go through this whole consultation. And then when I ask the price, you ask me what my budget is. Do not ask. You know what that says to me? That says to me that you don't know what to price it at. You're supposed to be the expert, but you don't know what the number is, and you want me to give you the number, and you want to set it at the price that I'm willing to pay. Ask me what my budget is. My budget is $10. My budget is $10. Okay? Do not. You are the expert. You just like Jahida said, your customer doesn't set the number. You're the expert. When you can respond with an actual number, they are much more likely to be like, you know what you're talking about. I guess that's what the price is. I get it. About if I want it, I gotta pay it.
Thank you.
Yes. Miss Chapman.
I just got a question because I always ask people what their budget is because I don't want to offer you beef stew if you can't afford beef stew. I don't want to offer you ribs if you can't. So I guess should I have like different sets with different prices? Like offer set number one, you get chicken and this for this price, and or this you want beef stew, this you get it for this price.
Right. So remember, you have to contain your costs. So you by doing what you just described, by saying again, and I'm going to use just a standard catering thing, you get 2 sides and a meat, or 1 meat from this category or 1 meat from this category, and then these sides. Whatever that structure is that you created so that you know exactly how much things cost, then you build your price from that. And your prices, again, can be starting at X dollars, starting at this. If it's beef stew versus chicken, you can say the beef stew packages start at $45 and the chicken packages start at $29, whatever that is. But when you're talking about something where you're doing my catering, I need you to tell me how much what I'm asking for will cost. And if it's more than what I can pay, I'm going to tell you. But then I expect you to tell me, as the expert, what can be changed to get closer to my number, or what is it that I can do to stretch my number to where it will fit my event, whatever I'm trying to get catered. But in each case, you are the expert that's got to tell me what it's going to cost. Don't ask me my budget. Don't ask me my budget.
Sasha?
This is a really important thing that Kim is saying. I really appreciate you bringing this up, Kim, because I work alongside a gentleman that does video production, and I was always uncomfortable with how he would tell people the pricing, because he would go, "Well, you just ask them what they can pay," and I'm like, that doesn't quite sound right. And he's just been freelancing and never really like made money.
I wonder why.
And he's like, okay, well then you do it. And I was like, okay, we gotta charge them more. And he was like, well, I'm not doing that. And mind you, his equipment is cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So I'm like, why are you charging like $250 when your drone is like thousands of dollars? Like, what are you
Ridiculous.
doing? And now I will say, like last month, I had 6 potential clients, and one of them said yes. And thinking back and analyzing what you've said, I realized I stated the value, I set the price, and when any objections came up, I went back to the price and the value. And then everybody else that said no or didn't respond, I didn't really do that with. And I was like, why are they saying no? I don't understand. Especially when I asked them their budget around what they wanted, all this stuff. But I missed one of those components, which is like restating the value.
Mhm.
Specifically that one. That one was the
Mhm.
one that I didn't go back to like, hey, you said you have this problem and this I'm gonna help you solve it. I kind of just let them just like go into the abyss.
It's
And
painting the picture, especially in a
yeah.
in a field like that. You're talking. Remember last week or what? Well, the week Omar was here saying, "Don't sell the car, sell the ride."
Mm,
When you're talking about this particular type of business, you're not talking about equipment. You're talking about what it's going to look like to have this particular view of whatever it is they're recording. You're talking
mm-hmm,
about the people who are going to be seeing it afterwards, how they're going to be showing it, what people are going to be saying when they see it. This is, and get excited. When we used
mm-hmm,
to do the events thing, you're talking about the event space, and they're saying, I'm thinking about having about 4 tables over to the side that are going to have this. And you're like, oh my gosh, that is going to be so nice because people are going to come in, they're going to see that, they're going to be immediately see where you got the centerpiece over here, and they're going to see the line, and that's going to help them really get in. They're going to be so excited at how that flows through. Now you're planting the things in their minds of I'm benefit. I'm already there. I've already paid for your package. I'm already at the event. Let's do it. That's how you do that. But you
mm-hmm,
don't ever want to make it to where I'm letting you determine my value.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I have to say, this, you have to emulsify so many different things together. So when it comes out of your mouth, it comes out naturally. And like you said it before, you can say it in your sleep.
Yeah.
And I just figured out my pricings. And now I'm figured out my message. Jahira can tell you I could talk to anybody and instant rapport, instant connection. But if I'm like, okay, my pricing, and then justify that pricing, and then connect all these pieces together, I'm gonna get it. But it's like I'm just learning my ABCs, and you're like, now let's go to sentences. And I'm like,
Yes,
but I
exactly.
just learned my
Paragraph.
ABCs. So
Mhm.
no, but you're doing fantastic. It's just it'll
But you
take
have to
time.
realize you're making the alphabet. You
Yeah.
are. This is your business. It is everything you say it is. That customer is relying on you to tell them what the business is, not the other way around. So whatever it is you say it is, that's what it is. But you've got to position it to where it's beneficial to them. And again, if you're talking to somebody that you don't know whether or not they're your target customer, you could be in a situation where no matter what you say, they're not going to buy because they're not your customer. But when you've taken the time to really figure out in that conversation and asking those questions and listening to what they're going through, it is a natural fit to talk about exactly what you do because it is exactly the solution they need to their problem. And you should feel that excitement. You should be like, "Ooh, I got just what they need."
Yes. Yes. I agree.
Uh-huh. Yes. And practice. Again, if that talking to the customer takes some practice, use the tools, use ChatGPT to have that conversation to where it does start to feel very natural. It's all the objections, you've already heard them before, you already know how to respond. All the benefits, you've already said them a million times. You know now what to listen for, what kind of cues are going to hit this particular benefit. It's all just repetition. Stand on your value always. Other questions? I hope this was helpful for all of you because now we're about to get into the pitch. We're going to be laser focused on that pitch. So, yeah, get on it. Go play with those slides. Put that information on. Play with Claude. Don't play with Claude because you're going to love Claude, just so you know. But yes, any other questions? I'm certainly willing to answer whatever.
Just a heads up, we will, once the video stops converting, we'll get that into the Google Drive for you as well as those slides. So just give it maybe 20 minutes or so. Sasha, you still have your hand up?
Yes, I was gonna say, I know we're all busy business owners, but I was gonna suggest that if anybody wants to get together in person and practice with each other, reach out to me and we can do like a steady group. If anyone's interested in that, that'd be fun and cool. I put my number in the chat. Oh, right, Rochester, Buffalo. Dang. I'm in Buffalo, but Zoom is a thing and Google Meet is a thing. So we can always do that as well. It would be a little bit more informal and Kim doesn't have to look at us so much.
Well, again, now this is also very exciting for us. This will be the first year in person. So if you have opportunity to actually be in front of somebody during at least some of these practice sessions, go for it because it is a little bit of a different dynamic when people can see you right here.
Also, I will say, this is not to toot my own horn, but I've been a part of a public speaking club for the last year at Toastmasters, and I won third place in one of our competitions. So, and I'm very good at talking to a group of people. I was the MC at last year's event with Passone, so I'd be happy to help.
Nice. Mm-hmm. All
Uh,
right. Anything else?
Looks to be like that's it. We're 7 minutes over, but all very valuable information. So you know how to get a hold of us if you need anything. Again, give us about maybe 20 minutes or so we can get that information into the Google Drive for you, and then reach out if you need anything. All right. Good night, ladies.
Good night, Tiffany. I'll be emailing you.
Good night. Thank you.
Night.
Night.